Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we wanna go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You wanna be with DC and our aim in a hand. The host can't see it's Mike and the Minifans. And nobody's seen real MHB. This whole thing is a sham. You never see him pee, it's Mike and the Minifans.
Wow, thank you, Warden. Hey, how are you? Welcome to Mike and the Minifans, the longest hour in recorded broadcast history. I'm here with a jam-packed panel. Some familiar faces, some new faces. So we got the Birdman. Birdman, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I was gonna do a Goose call for rest in peace Goose, but I didn't have time to practice.
I'd love to hear it though.
Can you do it? A Goose?
No,
call?
I can't.
Goose.
Let's go with honk, and you're pretty good.
Honk. Also joined by great man Kane. Kane, how are you?
Excellent. How are you doing?
Doing great. Joined by Christopher Methuen, fresh off his Mount Kirkmore appearance. Talked about on the main show. Congratulations.
Thank you. My name was mentioned again. I feel honored. As I'm honored right now to be part of this. Is this no? He said he stinks.
He stinks. Yeah, he smells like weed,
which is great.
Smells like weed and puke.
You doubled down on the druggy thing too.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect Kirk to like my list.
Yeah, and we're joined by new face. Actually, Monponte said he owed this guy money, so he said maybe we'll give him an appearance on Mike and the Minifans to settle the debt. We're joined by Matt. Matt, how are you?
Doing well. Yeah, this is well worth it. Pays off everything.
Wow, that's great. So we'll get right into it. Crazy week. Goose gone, Justin in. And I think this week the show was actually a show, like it wasn't all about Gus. There's a good meme going out there. Enough about Gus. What Kirk Minahan.
Great meme.
Great meme.
So I think I know the guy that made that.
Yeah, enough about Gus. I think, it was nice to have a Gus-free week. But before we get into that, I think this was overlooked. And was Mutt getting bumped for Blind Mike and Mick the lowest moment in his broadcasting career?
It's right down there with his lowest moment, I would say.
Yeah, it was definitely a right move though, because we got quite a show.
Oh, absolutely.
That was definitely gold.
Yeah, like you're looking at it from Mutt's point of view, you're like, this guy gets bumped for Mick and Mike, and the show was like 10 times better. That was a great show, like especially like a non like Kirk just sat back and was just smiling the whole time. But yeah, let's get into Mick versus Mike. It was kind of the focal point of the week, and I could see both sides of it, but and people are asking, how do you score this? A lot of people are saying Mike came out the victor, but I don't know. I think Mike came off kind of like when you're yelling and talking over and not letting the other person talk, you kind of come off more sensitive. But we'll go around the room. Mick versus Mike. Who won? What are your thoughts? We'll start with Kane. What did you think?
I need a job. Give me a job. Fucking maniac this guy is. Holy fuck. I thought Mike actually definitely had.
Wait, was that Mike? Was that Mike or Mick?
Because it
was kind of either. Oh, it was Mike.
He's actually an absolute maniac. I didn't really realize that about him before. When I would see him on and do different, I didn't realize he was like that, but it was unbelievable the past few weeks. But I thought Mike bodied him, be honest. He had the better points. He is right. I think Mick is entitled. I think he just is coming about the wrong way. But I will say this, Mike did have an advantage being on the show and starting his Patreon. Because he was part of the show for a long time. It was an easier transition. Having Mick try to do that, I don't think it's going to be as easy for Mick to pull that off. So,
yeah, I kind of thought Blind Mike was being like, he was saying, "Oh, I did this, I did this, I did this," but it's not. He's not the same in the same spot as Mick. You know, like that's where I thought he kind of lost it there. But Chris, what do you think?
So I definitely think Mike won. I agree with you though that him getting loud and doing almost that voice crack thing that he did with Portnoy, but to Mick kind of, I don't know, he put too much into it. He didn't need to get that upset over what Mick was saying. He was right. He had the argument won hands down. I don't know. I think coming from his perspective, giving Mick advice on how to get to where he thought Mick wanted to go, I don't see that as a bad thing. And from Mick's perspective, using that to cause the kind of argument that it did actually made him look better. So I'd have to give him some credit on the other end for, you know what I mean? It Kirk was saying it himself. It made him, that was more interesting than anything he could else he would have done. Anything that he was comparing him to Gus or to other people. But that bit arguing with Mike was much better than he would have been in the producer booth at all. So it makes it more interesting. But Mike won.
Someone in the chat said, or Todd in the chat said, Mike had the I'm on the verge of crying voice, so he didn't win. Like that's where I was. And I got Mick's point to be like, I'm not trying to use this to like start BAP up or start a Patreon. Like I want a job. Like I want to have a full-time job on this show. So I think like I could see where Mick was coming from. But Birdman, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I see this a lot, even in my line of work with like landscaping, is like you get a guy who has no experience and he showed up on time for like 2 months straight, and then he's like, "Oh, why don't I have this position?" You know, and then that's like Mick. It's like what he produced like 4 times combined or whatever, and he's like, "Well, if I don't have a job now, I give up." Like he has no understanding of like you need to earn an opportunity and work at something, and it's just like I don't know if it's just a prime example of some generational work ethic loss or something, but like I was screaming at the podcast while I was playing. Like, how do you not understand that? Like, I don't know. Like, for him to just expect a job is absurd. And Mike was absolutely right. So I don't know. I was so frustrated listening to it because I just didn't understand in what universe where Mick would be right on that side.
Manners must be high. Right? Oh, Manners must be high. I read this comment like 5 minutes ago, Manners.
Although when Mick argues, though, he stays under control. I will say that he stayed pretty much under control. And
like Mike's like snapped almost.
Mike was like,
yeah. If you talk about like maybe not the context of the argument, but like who handled the argument better, Mick was like calm, cool, composed in the ring, and Mike was like just flailing at everything. Matt, what did you think about the whole thing?
Yeah, I agree. Like Mike won. The way he went about it was crazy. He had the crying. I'm on the verge of crying voice for sure. I'm pretty close in age, I think, to Mick, and yeah, there's a lot of people in my generation that think you're owed stuff by doing a little bit of work, and
right.
Like I can see where like he thinks he doesn't want to have the job dangled in front of him, but you have to keep at it and keep going. If he didn't walk out of the studio, what was that, a week or two ago, I think he would have had a decent shot at getting that job.
He still has a shot at getting something, though. Still, they're talking about doing a pay-per-view that would pay him and Montante. The fact that they're still having that conversation tells me that there's something about him that Kirk finds interesting for whatever reason, and you might still get something out of it.
Well, you know what I thought?
Which would then
have one point actually.
Go ahead, Birdman. Go ahead.
Remember the producer search? Like Mick came in a couple of times and said like he would work for free, and I remember Kirk being like, "No, that's ridiculous. We'd pay you to do it."
Don't say that.
And then all of a sudden he's filling in, and it's like, "Oh, I won't be here unless I'm being paid or I have a job." Like, so what is it? Do you want to get paid to do it, or like you're doing it for free? Like,
I still don't think like I get his full point. Like I get his point where he's like, "I want a full-time job," but he's like, "I'll pay you if you want to come in." It's not about that. And then he's like, "I want to get paid for being here," and it's like,
he wants a contract. He wants some security. And
he thinks he's as good. He thinks he's as good as Kirk. That's probably what his issue is. He really.
But he said he was willing to take the job for no money. during the producer search.
Another point.
Yeah, but
another
that was
point.
before his girlfriend started begging him for a ring.
Yeah.
Well, another
Shit
point
changes
is like another point is people are like everyone's saying like, oh, maybe it's an age thing. Like Mike's like 32 or 33 and Mick's 28. Like they have a 5-year difference. Like I don't. It's like I don't see it. It's not like he's like a 21-year-old or 19. Like he's a 28-year-old. Like like he's.
But he's a 28-year-old bartender. It's not like he's a 28-year-old fucking paralegal. You know what I mean?
Well, the only other thing is too, it's like maybe Mick's jealous that Blind Mike gets the government subsidy for his blindness, but Mick doesn't get it for his
I've looked into that. It's not much money.
Oh, Chris, you cut me off of my joke, man. Holy shit.
Sorry.
Mick doesn't get the stipend for Crohn's disease. Now you can laugh.
He does have that sweet, I need the shit card, though. I kind of wish I had that.
He has I need a shit card that he probably made by himself. But yeah, it's like, I think Blind Mike, I got Mike's point. It's like, you know what, Mick, if you really want a job here, you don't care about being paid. Like if you're in here every day or you're part of the show, eventually you'll get a job. Like because someone will leave or or eventually you'll get an opportunity for a job, right? Like if you I need to nice, Chris.
Sorry, I'm gonna need the shit card. Can I get a stipend?
Yeah, keep that in your wallet, man.
But yeah, so that was the whole thing. But Mick really like rattled Blind Mike, and I thought it was funny that the whole thing comes down to like you don't even follow me on Twitter, and that's like the crux of it.
Did you see that Mike only followed Mick after that?
Yeah,
it was pretty funny.
He's the only one.
Aggressive.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's funny. Mike, Mike's a good guy, and I think Mike too. Like, he's trying to give advice to Mick, being like, "Look, like I was in here. Now I'm doing my own thing. You know, he's widely successful, maybe one of the most famous guys in the Kirkman universe." But it's just like how mad he gets. Like he wasn't calm. I don't know. It was a great moment of the week. But
although Mike has really enjoyed his role, I think since the producer search, where he just kind of sits back, nails people, tells people what they're doing wrong, and nobody's really checked Mike in a long time. That was to see how like passionate he got about it. Just showed that Mick got really under his skin, and that just kind of is. I want more Mick. I thought it was
like the kid gloves, Yeah, he
didn't like that.
Mick took like I guess Mick probably has small hands, but the kid gloves were off, right?
So the picture of them side by side, I thought I was a little scared for Mick for a second, and then I remembered Mike's blind. So
yeah, well, that image of them just screaming at each other, sitting next to each other, but not looking really at each other,
awesome.
is like the best thing ever.
And I think Coleman wanted the shirts to come off because his smirk watching that was like, I think he was fucking aroused.
Yeah,
Coleman loves. Coleman loves.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, but Coleman loves playing into like the gay thing. Like he might actually like in like a few more years, he might actually like turn gay just from like this. This was all kind of a bit orchestrated by Menners, and now he might actually like turn gay from it because maybe Menners like really called it. But yeah, Mike and Mick, and then going off Mike and Mick, it's the Eminem boys. You know, brilliant. The brilliant idea, as coined by Mike Montante, gets denied for Justin. But Kirk does say, and you touched on this, Chris. Like Kirk's coming up with like ideas, like, oh, okay, how can I get these guys paid? During actually the producer search, they went around. Chris might remember this, but Birdman might. They went around saying like, who do you think's going to win? And I actually said, it's going to be like Barstool Idol. All of them will end up having a job here eventually. And it's kind of slowly going into that. But like, okay, so I know he didn't really get into this pay-per-view, but like, so now Kirk's trying to get these guys, give them something to sell and maybe get a kickstart. But so what do you think about this? And do you think they can fulfill this? Or you think it'll just be one of these things that are said and then just goes away? We'll start with Mike. We'll start with Matt, actually. We'll start with Matt.
I think it's something that can happen. Because like Kirk allowing them to be on the show and continue to go back and forth with him is something that, like he said, like what podcaster of his magnitude would allow him to do that? And I genuinely think that he wants to help them out as to a certain extent, but I do think that he'll give him a little bit of a cut of a pay-per-view, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's more about like, okay, I wanted Mick or Montante on because like, okay, what is it? Is like a pay-per-view that they set up and they like run with Julie and then they get the profits for it, or like how does it work? And then it's like, if that's an opportunity, what I would be like trying to figure this out, right? But it's like, this is the thing with Mick. It's like there's an opportunity in front of him and he's like, no, I just want the producer. Well, you need to do shit like this in order to get that.
I would be pumping out more and more content each and every day if we were building up towards some sort of pay-per-view, and I'd be on the phone with Coleman and Justin trying to get it scheduled, get that all set up as soon as possible.
I feel like that would be a Kirk scheduled production, but I also feel like he's going to say something to the effect of, we'll do our regular schedule, not schedule, but they'll do a regular pay-per-view, a live show that's a pay-per-view, and then use his share of that money and match it or whatever the payday would be, to then pay Mick and Montante to do something like for a year. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
if he's thinking he's going to come up with like 40, 50 grand, well, then you split that, but you work for me for the year on a part-time.
Exactly. Right. But so like, so you think it's just going to be like, my understanding, it would be like, okay, you pick the venue, you work with Julie, you set up everything, like you promote it, like, and then Kirk will show up and he'll promote it as well, right? I thought it was a good idea for Kirk, but I don't know if that's wrong. When's Julia Montante's live show? I think it's a good idea, and it's a way to get. It's almost a way to see, do the Minifans support these guys, right? Because it's like, oh, hey, do you want to see Mick and Montante, the Eminem boys, the brilliant idea part of the show? Okay, well, you can do this, but you need buy 10 pay-per-views. All the pros. It's similar to Portnoy giving the producers money on the t-shirt day, right? So I think that's how you would spin it. I don't know.
Yeah, but imagine
what are we doing here?
Imagine it's just a live show of Mick and Montante. They have to come up with everything, and then Kirk does like a zoom in from his fucking living room.
No, I don't think so. It seemed like it was Kirk's idea.
And a half. You think you're buying a Kirk Minahan pay-per-view? And
that's my
Kirk
biggest
for
question.
10 minutes on Zoom.
Yeah, what are you paying for with that? like the actual content. What are they gonna?
Well, I think it would see this. I don't know. That's the whole thing. Like it's like a live show in New Jersey, like at a bar or something. If you sell some live tickets and then you put it on pay-per-view. Dan Hammer said, I'm boycotting BA till he says, hey, how are you to me? Hey, how are you, Dan? But you know, like that's, I think this could be like an idea that it's almost Kirk came up with it, say, I'll support you. Then they run with it. I could be wrong, but
you are.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're definitely wrong, but I don't think there's any hope for this at all. I think it still comes back to Kirk, the not firing of Augustus. I think this is all similarly tied together. I'm telling Kirk, you're just too nice. The Minifans, some of these people are so crazy. He doesn't need any Minifan to do any show. He just doesn't need it. So I'm not really sure why he's even going to this extent. I feel disaster in the making for sure.
But don't you think
like having content?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something about Gus, like the thing about Gus, like him being a disaster did bring, I think, some extra listeners or some people that maybe didn't know about it or aren't hardcore Minifans but are tuning in. I think it's like watching a car crash. Like you can't turn away, kind of thing. I think that.
But Gus isn't fully out, in my opinion. I don't think Gus is fully out. They said that they'd pay him to do the best of. I think there's going to be other times when they pull him in, and it might get him a little quick couple $100 or something.
Gus is new and improved on Twitter too.
Freddie Lynn said, super thick irony by Kane saying some of them are so crazy.
He could be the dumbest one out there. He's pretty close.
Who, Freddie Lynn?
Him and Todd, who I call Retod. He's terrible. Stupid people.
What is that?
That is a clever name.
It is.
Retod. It's
Retod.
it's like Steve from Gloucester would say, how Steve from Gloucester would say.
Phony.
But yeah, I don't know. What did BA get suspended for? That's we keep that in house. That's between me and the CEO.
I think it was harassing a coworker.
Yeah.
Harassing a coworker? No,
that's what I think happened.
No, we keep it in house.
I don't know which coworker.
The
There's only a few.
There was no. I watched football with my dad last weekend, and there was a snowstorm, so I went there a day early. That was my suspension. But yeah, I like the idea, and this could be like a businessman or whatever, like the idea of Mick and Montante and Julie coming up with like a live show that Kirk's a part of or whatever, or running it, and then that gets them paid, So,
but what's the upside for Kirk? You think it's going to turn into a spin-off and he can executive produce it?
No, I'm saying Kirk. It's like they set up a Kirk Minahan live show. It's not like the Montante show. Like Kirk would be there, I'm sure Kirk's going to be there. No one's going to. How many people are going to buy a Montante?
Kirk's not going to go
Julie?
on stage doing bits written by.
Oh, wasn't this Kirk's idea? Wasn't this Kirk's idea?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not written bits. It'll be like the Delaware show, but in New Jersey, kind of thing. That's what That's what I took from it.
You could be right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a Subway show, but in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something like that, but they would sell pay-per-views, and it's similar to the producers.
So 40 tickets, pay Gus and Montante.
Newsmax, buddy. Go after that. Go hard. Newsmax, yeah. Mick, just go on the show and just shut your fucking mouth, and that's your best bet.
Can you imagine Montante doing anything semi-national, but doing it like in the old days, like from his car, like he used to do on Minsell on Meeting of the Minds?
Well, that's so funny. Montante started out streaming from his car, drinking vodka and Yoo-hoos and calling them.
Mikey Moonface, right?
Mikey Moonface. Let BA run the chat, manners. You lost credibility all week about your tweet for vodka. We'll get into vodka. But I guess the biggest news of the week, the goose is set loose, back to his natural habitat, the unemployment world, and Justin is in. And I said this earlier, but with Justin in, it felt like it wasn't a sideshow enough about Gus. It was an actual show. Like this was like the first week of the Kirk Minahan show. So I guess, and this is what I like looking back on Gus. He did the dick, like his instincts from the beginning were terrible. He did the dick thing with Cullinane. He did on his last day of the producer search. He didn't listen to the last 10 minutes of the show where they told him to come in. He did a 24-hour streams where he said he was going to do all this stuff, and he didn't do anything. So the writing was on the wall from the beginning. But what are your thoughts about Justin in? I'm sure everyone's happy, but Gus gone, Justin in. We'll go around the room. Maddie, what do you think?
It's a natural fit. When Justin left the producer search, I was like, oh boy, this can turn into something crazy. But I'm glad Justin's back. It feels good. I think him and Coleman will get along better, especially because they're closer in age too. I think that was the thing with Coleman being above Gus is that age gap too. So, being his quote unquote boss. So, but yeah, love Justin. The car video off of Instinct just was great. So yeah, big fan of Justin being back on the show.
Also, his topics that he brings up are not all about Justin. All like it's about like stuff that Kirk would like to talk about. Where Gus, it was all about Gus.
He's got much better instinct. He's been with Kirk for a while now, so it's a much better fit for sure.
Scoop-a-loop says Gus was out for Gus and Gus only. I think that was clear. Do you think Gus sabotaged the mics? Because the mics were shit for like 3 days.
Yeah.
No, but I thought that was pretty fitting. That the guy who got fired was the guy needed to fix the mics. That was just funny. Perfect. You couldn't write that.
Also, too, like, was Gus actually the most qualified person technically out of all of them? Which is, I think,
but at the same time, the least qualified to be on the microphone, as he proved.
Yeah, but like plugging shit in and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah, what was his Steve score for the T on the technical? I thought that
should have been higher. I
think it was pretty damn high. Yeah,
but it's so funny.
7 or an 8 or something like that.
Yeah. But it's so funny when he's on like the network, like God, he was on Mount Kirkmore. He can't even, his mic doesn't work. So Gus was an enigma. But Kane, what do you think? The Justin era.
Well, I love Justin, so I think he's just an absolute natural fit. But also, you saw him this week too doing other things. He went into the chats. He pulled out Actually, I was in that chat, and they weren't really saying that much bad about Blind Mike, but of course, he pulled the ones that he picked. He knows exactly how to hit the right people in the wrong spots. You know what I mean? He knows exactly what to say, what to do. I think him and Coleman together now, I think is the perfect fit. I think this show is going to go pretty far now with these guys at the helm.
You see how happy he was when he put his arm around
he just loves
Justin
him.
to give the mic. I think Coleman, he wants a thick boy beside him. He doesn't want like this skinny little twerp like Gus. Gus was actually in the chat saying, I appreciate people think I would be smart enough to even come up with the idea of sabotage. So there you go. Now Gus he's probably going to be a regular on Mike and the Minifans. I'm sure he'll be like, oh, I'm free every Friday now.
I'm trying to get him as a co-host on 420. We're in negotiations.
Perfect. That'll be great. Birdman, any thoughts? The only other thing is rip Steven from Gloucester, because like he is losing it. He's in the DMs being like, do I start going after Menners now? Like, who's my target? You know?
Yeah.
Hey, one other thing was that Menners was saying that he's blocked him. Is that actually true? I know Menners took a couple shots at him last time he was on Mike and the Minifans, but he said he was blocked by him. That sound
really?
right? That's what he said.
Who did I block?
Oh, you said Justin said you said on with Mama.
Oh, you know, I think he's blocked my number. Anyway, I thought you were talking about.
I was wondering why. What happened?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
All right, we will.
But Birdman, Justin, I think everyone's gonna think about natural fit. What do you any thoughts?
Yeah, Justin, I love the guy, and he was definitely the natural fit. But I also think if Justin knew it was going to be a 2-position job, like there's going to be 2 producers, I don't think he would have backed out in the first place, because I think his biggest fear was facing the whole Minifan wrath. You know,
exactly.
Now that he doesn't have to do it alone, it's great. You know,
exactly. And Ziggy brought this up on the rundown, and I was thinking about this Friday when that it's so true, Birdman. Justin never backed out to be the associate producer, and everyone's saying, "Oh, he
was all in on that when he."
Yeah, that's what he wanted. That's where it was like.
Yeah, because that's what he misread Kirk's text, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to be the sole guy." He thought he was just doing like a second job to help Dave. You know. So
yeah, exactly. So like that's
where.
But
at first, when the idea of 2 people was being thrown around during the producer search, Kirk wasn't all for it at first.
Yeah, but I think that was after when he approached Justin about the job, though. I might be wrong, but I think he reached right out to Justin. Justin came in and talked, and I thought that.
Oh, for the Gus job, sure. I'm sure that was his first.
Well, I might be wrong. I just think initially Kirk was looking for one person to replace the job, and I think the 2-person role kind of developed as the producer search went on. I could be wrong.
That's how Justin wouldn't have known. But that's how Justin.
Because he reached right out to Justin and was like, essentially, do you want Dave's job? Yeah. And Justin misunderstood it as like to work with Dave. And then when he realized it was Dave's job, he was like, oh, I don't want to be this, the only producer here. So I think, I think that's how the timeline rolled up. But if he knew it was going to be a 2-person role, I think he would have taken the job right off the bat.
Well, he did us all a favor. So thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Justin, and you can even tell like there's a sense of calmness in the studio with Justin there. Like it's a show again, and I like. I'm very happy. I think we're done with this. I think the drama now will center around Mick for a while. Like I think that's gonna be he'll be the focal point of the drama. And Gus is funny. Like Gus, like I said, his natural habitat's being unemployed. As soon as he got unemployed, he's tweeting great. He's like he's doing all this stuff.
That's funny.
I honestly think that Gus needed to be high on the show. I think what was screwing him up is he's so used to being hot. He's so used to smoking weed. He's definitely like a smoke weed all day guy, which there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion. So I think when he was on the show, he didn't smoke weed, and that's where he was getting all fucked up.
Maybe.
The most normal he was on the show in his entire run was on the 500 milligrams of edible.
Chris, do you really think he ate that for the show?
I do really think he ate that because the reason
I would
why
be
I think
liquid.
he ate that.
Be dead too.
Sure.
Not all day.
But Birdman, he took 500 milligrams on my show months ago.
But he ate them wasn't it like 10 milligram gummies at a time though? Like he ate like
it was worse than that. They had Justin stop at the dispensary and get him 10 milligram chocolate bars. I can pull it out for you right now if you wanted me to.
You have like one gummy, it's like 100 or whatever.
But I
Roscoe had a good
chocolate bars.
Roscoe has a good point. It was like Montante not drinking a Sacco. He was all on edge. and yeah, Gus gets 500 million.
Yeah, I have
500 million.
Yeah.
Gus definitely gets the pen right out of bed. He has to, man. But that was, I always thought, Gus, it needed to be high to be calm, and that was probably the downfall. But any final points, Gus, Justin, Steve from Gloucester? Any final points from you guys?
Nope, not really. I think Steve is going to
talk about Patty.
Can we talk about how bad Steve from Gloucester? I like Steve from Gloucester a lot, and I think he's actually pretty funny. But this Gus thing is really affecting him. He needed it's like almost it's CNN when Trump lost to Biden, like the ratings went down. Like the Consistency podcast is based off Gus, and now with no Gus, I'm surprised. I want him to find a new target.
Well, isn't it like obvious his new target ought to be Mutt, and he just needs to come up with a really good nickname for him?
Yeah, but he loves Mutt.
I think he wants. That's
the easy target. That's the.
I agree.
Like the way to go.
But Mutt doesn't really work for the show, like.
And if you don't have Steve come in, you're stuck with like Pat Ford or John and Warren.
I like John and Warren. I like John.
Steve, I actually
seems like a good guy.
Steve is one of the third. Steve is one of the third or fourth chairs, whatever you want to call it, that I enjoy on the show because he says funny comments and people say it's an act, but I think he's just 100% genuine. That's how he's I do too. He's just this paisan.
Mispronouncing Jay Pachi was.
That's wicked funny.
Yeah, but that's like I don't know, but that I guess I'm not from there.
Wants to know.
I'm not from there, so I don't know.
What Jay Pace, right?
Yeah.
But I would have fucked.
That's what I would have said, but I don't claim to be Italian. So.
But that's Pace isn't really like that's not like an Italian last name. Like I don't know.
No, but one of his big flaws though is he thinks only about himself.
Once. If you go
sorry, can you say that again?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's more than one Jay Pachi around. If you go into one of them, they're gonna say the name of the place. You know what I mean?
Steve from Gloucester. I like it. Like I'm not saying I don't think anyone is talented really.
Yeah, I don't think he's talented. He's
funny. Like he's a good. I think he's a good fit on the show. And the draw is drops. What were you saying, Kane? You said he's all about himself.
Well, even when you DM with him or something, it always comes back to Steve. I mean, it just does. That's just his personality. That's what I like about him. But he's just he loves himself more than anybody I've probably ever met.
You know what's funny? That's a good point, Kane.
You can say that about.
You know what's funny though? That's a good point, Kane. Like Steve from Gloucester's biggest point about Gus was Gus is all about Gus, but Steve is all about Steve.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. But I hope Steve can find a new enemy. Or Kane, you should start doing a podcast about the Consistency podcast. And just
follow-up show.
Yeah, like a wrap-up show of a wrap-up show of a
12-minute
of a wrap-up show. Yeah.
And you gotta listen to every episode.
I already do. I can't get enough of it.
I don't really listen, but I like they play enough of it on the show. I like that. I like the Steve from Gloucester segments on the show. It's always
great. It's so short. It's so easy to just if you have the time just to blow through it, and it just makes me laugh every time. So
he seems like a really really good guy, though. I will say.
Yeah. It seems like it.
Oh yeah, I think he's and even Kirk says it too. Average Joe said Kane looks like a Muppet. Just that from the chat.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, Kane said it. I was in the chat last week, and Kane, everyone was like, John from Scranton's better than BA. Then Kane finally was like, you know what, John? Actually, BA reads the chat, so that's true. Kane is easy with Chelsea of Pat Ford and John Award.
There's probably some truth to that. I gotta lie. John's abandoned me though. John's abandoned me. That's my point with John. Is like we first came on the show when I got bamboozled by these fucking people on here. He would reach out. Now I know that. Yeah, you were in on it too. Don't lie. Now I know.
I had your back. I was saying that
John
was
from
lying.
Strand had my back. That was about it. But anyway, John would reach out.
Wow.
We live in the same town. Well, I lived there. Now I live somewhere else. But it's like, hey, we'll go out and get a drink. And I know Pat Ford's like, don't talk to that guy. He's gonna bring you right the fuck down. And now I don't hear from him. I don't get it. Not nice.
I don't know.
I'm surprised he didn't offer you a show.
Oh yeah.
Augustus, great point. Who cries more, Kane or Mick?
Oh,
Augustus.
I'll see you Tuesday.
I love unemployed Augustus. He's the best. He needs to somehow stay unemployed there.
So we're not even going to get into thoughts on what's going to happen Saturday night.
Oh, I have that on. Do you want to get
sorry.
into that? That's the Delaware show, right? I was going to talk about Portland first, but you want to talk about Saturday night, Delaware. What your thoughts? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm wondering if there's going to be any way for people that aren't there to catch any of the vibes, or is it going to be another like secretive type where Kirk tells the Nardini story or something to that effect? You know what I mean? Some reason to make us all jealous that we didn't get to go to Delaware or.
I'm assuming there'll be like a vlog, like a Coleman vlog.
Well, Mick's doing a vlog, isn't he? Mick said he's doing his own vlog, so.
Well, they're gonna have to put that on their TikTok and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I think there'll be vlog, social media content, and all that stuff. But I don't think it's I think it's like meant to be like a private,
exclusive.
Private
Yeah.
Which makes me mad. Not mad, but jealous.
There you go.
Not that I'd want to drive to Delaware.
Yeah, I don't want to drive to Delaware, though.
But still, I mean.
Yeah. People on OBA come to Portland. Yes, I bought my ticket. 35 minutes in, haven't discussed Portland or Delaware. Those are next on my topics, Freddie Lynn.
And we just did
he's a brick, isn't he? It's just the fucking.
See, people demand so much. I'm doing my best, guys. But Delaware. So I think they'll be social. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't really know too much. I think it's gonna be. I'll be all right, but yeah, I don't think we'll really know what the show. There'll probably be stories about it and all that stuff. They'll probably talk about it Monday.
Hmm.
Well,
you don't think they've released it at all?
Montante's gonna find out if the girl Sam is hot.
Yeah, that'll be big.
Sam being hot is big. No, imagine she's like fucking like a pig or something.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
It would just be bad. Like,
No,
what
would be bad is if she's just like slightly below average, but Montante is like all over.
She's gorgeous. Yeah.
She's better than Marge Simpson.
She's spectacular.
I don't know. I think he'll be. I think I like Coleman's vlog style, so I think he'll be able to capture a lot of moments vlog wise. So I'm excited about that.
So will there be gotcha moments?
Oh, probably. Augustus, look at that. See me Tuesday, Kane. A light of enjoyed it. You run away because of that evil smell.
I was the first one to catch the lies, though, wasn't I? I brought that right to the forefront. Man, I like Augustus, but he was
Some of us have known him a little while,
but Kane,
surprised.
Kane, we were saying forever he was a white. He was a white liar when he's back in the corner. Like they're not malicious lies. They're just like, oh yeah, it's the same. That wasn't
But to Kane's point, Kane caught some shit for calling him out at first, and then he was proven right.
I was called a narc.
Proven right. Got to give him his W where it belongs.
I had your side. I went on the record. I had your side. So Delaware. Any thoughts on Matt? Thoughts on Delaware?
No, I wish I could go, but no, not gonna be. I didn't win. Not gonna be able to drive all the way.
Has anybody seen David from Maryland's gonna be there? Has any of you guys ever met him? I'm curious.
Not in person.
I don't know.
At least not that I know of.
Yeah, right. I don't think so.
No. But Portland this week. The tickets are on sale. It was described as a lecture / seminar on Ticket Master. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, that's pretty. I didn't see it, but
yeah, they said it on the show.
I was like, buy the tickets, and I was about to screenshot it and send it out. But what happened? Oh, Cade's gone.
He just walked away.
I love that his background is that brick wall. It's like the old stand-up comedy. You'd always see the comedian standing by a brick wall.
Yeah,
that reminds me of.
Oh,
there he is.
Lecture says summer is funny. It seems like it's selling okay. But a lot of I have to bring it up. A lot of people are saying the Easter weekend, the Easter Father of the Year, yes.
Being the night
The
before Easter.
The Easter weekend may hinder the sales. So like, I guess, are you going? What do you think about this? I'm like, do you care if it sells out or not? I guess.
I mean, I caught some shit for not being around, for not getting back till Easter Day, and that's only because me and my girlfriend always host whatever holidays, and not that we planned anything for Easter yet. But she's like, your mother's gonna, and I caught a little bit of shit for that the other night.
I mean, sorry, Kane, you can go if you need to like look after your kids. Like, I mean, I feel kind of bad. You're sitting there, your kids are begging for attention, and you're throwing out these shit takes. I mean, you got to go and do your father and stuff. I mean, which is it? Getting
the 12-year-old found his porn.
Cloud overall.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to stay or do you want to go? No, you can come back another time.
I'm all set. I don't know why you're in here. You're derailing the show.
Well, you were talking to your kids while the show's going on.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Getting up, showing your fat belly. I mean, Minifans are throwing up their dinners right now. I mean, come on.
People are puking like Justin.
I know, but I was also being serious. I also don't want you. You need to go and look after your kids.
I'm good. She's all right.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to help
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it.
You guys are having a great show.
It's scat with corn in it, but it's okay.
Oh god.
But like the Easter weekend, I could see how it's tough for like people that would have flew in or something that are like, they're probably like, I'm gonna have to miss this one. I always thought, do you think they did it by accident or do you think it was like a cheaper weekend to book?
See, I want to believe that it was done on purpose because Podcast Jesus Easter weekend.
Oh, you think?
I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I want to think they did.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know if it was because it was cheaper to book it then or not, but I mean, I don't know. Is Easter? I know you just saying you host holidays and stuff, but like, is it that really big that a lot of people aren't going to go?
It's not, but
if you have kids, I'm sure it's hard.
But it's also like a long weekend and stuff, and it's like something where you might see extended family.
Yeah.
Who the hell cares about Easter? Like I said,
that's kind of what I'm saying.
I just saw all my family at Christmas.
Right, exactly. We just had Christmas, but like I get it. If you have little kids though and stuff, it's tough. Like it can be a big holiday for kids.
Fuck it, bring them.
Right.
Easter fake. My theory was I think it was this. My theory is they were like, it's let's book it here. It's cheaper. And then they didn't realize it fell on Easter, and it kind of fell and people are like, and then they're like, oh shit, we have to deal with this. So I really don't think it makes a huge difference, but I think it could cause like a 5 or 10%, like 5 or 10% people are like, oh, I can't go now because you're seeing it online.
But you know what? We didn't have to see it sold out in 10 minutes when everyone knew there was going to be tickets at the door. Not to sound like that troll guy, but. If there's always tickets.
But I don't think they've said I don't think
they didn't say for this one, but they have for every other one since before.
But I feel like the other ones, it's like it actually did sell out, but then there's resale. Like I think this one hasn't even sold. Like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
I don't know. I don't know if it'd be. Yeah, I didn't hear him say anything about tickets at the door.
Oh, so Freddie Lynn's right. They talked about it on the show. Cully booked late, so this was like a Cully move. So that's what I'm saying. Cully probably was like, oh wow, cheaper this weekend, let's book, and then it ended up being Easter weekend.
Yeah, and they just wanted to make a holiday out of it and did it at the same time.
Nick from Boston says Rico do a video for Portland. That's a very interesting.
I mean, there's some time for that worm to turn, so to speak, and him end up doing one if the relationship betters over the next month and a half or two.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I'm excited about Portland. Like, I think Portland is like a fun like the show's great. I Born in the USA was great, and then I was kind of on a drunken stupor for the rest of it last time. But I think the whole like the
entire weekend was fun.
Like Friday's a lot of fun. The Gritties making the Minifans. So I think it's going to be a great time. And like if they sell 1,000 or 1,500, like I really don't care. So like I guess Kirk probably cares a bit, but I feel like they'll get to the.
Yeah, I gotta ask you. I have two questions to ask you since you mentioned Mike and the Minifans and Portland and Friday night. Are you gonna host Mike and the Minifans? And if so, are you going to be sober doing so? Because if you're not, then I want to watch or be on.
I think if Blind Mike's there, he will be hosting Mike and the Minifans.
You have to be the live comment guy.
I would that it would be funny if like I'm drunk in the stands and like I'm getting like people are like telling me comments and I start saying them. Like,
you'd have to jokingly do the Mike drunken. Oh, you guys are here for me. Why don't you just host the show?
Oh yeah, I should. But yeah, I in all honesty, I rather not. I rather have a good time, not have to like go on and like do stuff.
And
like,
I know that about you. That's why that's part of the reason I asked.
Yeah.
The Portland show last time though was I've been to just about every one of them, and to me that was my favorite show. And I like Portland's a nice place to like go out drinking after and hang out and stuff. Just a great town, you know. So
I mean, the Friday before
really
any of these shows has always been fun.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm flying in to New Jersey Thursday and spending the day with Mr. Montante, and then we're
So that's on purpose. That was the whole reason. So last time you stayed with Pat. The time before that you stayed with Posty.
Now this time I'm staying with Mr. Montante. So I'm pumped. It's gonna be a fun time.
The third stop on the BA Minifan couch tour.
Couch surfing. Also raffle law reparations. So
raffle law reparations. I like that.
So Dale looks like Kirk's gonna honor raffle law and I get Dale to go. So I was proud of that. That was honor. I have to say.
I haven't seen Dale since our faithful drive to Madawaska. That's
I
not
wonder if
true.
he
I've
shows
seen him
up
at other shows, but that was the first time I hung out with Dale.
I wonder if it's redemption. So if the theme is redemption, like they should do. Latino Kirk gets his 5 minutes on stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? They
So
should try.
if it's full redemption, then Jay should get to choke out Dale.
Well, I'm talking about Kirk Minahan redemption.
I know,
but I guess it could be redemption for everyone.
I was trying to shoehorn memories in. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Latino Kirk gets his 5 minutes on stage. Maybe they do the Tucker Carlson Zoom with Dale as a video for the Portland show. You know,
yeah, they make up all the promises on that golden ticket in one night.
Yeah, all the golden ticket promises one night. So, but yeah, I think I'm excited for Portland. It's gonna be a great time. Minnesota hockey. Portland was such a fun experience last year. So such a fun weekend. So.
It was awesome.
I think this week the best moment of the week was the besides the Mike versus Mick caller of the week. Now that Juan's gone, Billy Belichick.
100%.
That was so fun. And almost like it was so good that I was like, is this actually Belichick calling?
Yeah, right.
He's unemployed now. I think he's
He'd fit right in. He's a little overweight. He's unemployed. He's a Minifan.
Yeah. When he started listing the strip clubs in Atlanta, I was losing it.
That line, it really came down to the strip clubs. I literally almost crashed my car.
It was so good.
And then you know the dancers are a little darker shade that I'm used to. I couldn't control myself.
Yeah, but the Belichick call was great. That was awesome. Baca, when you started the network. Well, go ahead, Mike.
I think funnier. That was hilarious. But leading up to that, when Tim was like dead wrong about the Atlanta Falcons owner being Republican,
that was funny.
It wasn't a good show for Tim. It wasn't.
Yeah,
Tim's moment.
No, I liked him, but yeah, that was rough.
Tim Richards caller was so good.
Tim Richards caller right after Belichick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
I thought he was doing some like Coleman's brother magic illusion where he was calling in while being on the show, because I was like, it was so perfect.
It was great because Kirk had just said, well, we'll take a few more, but we're not going to top that one. And then the next guy almost did. He didn't, but he almost did.
Right.
He couldn't land it after that second layer. He couldn't get to the second layer with the same imitation. But at first, it was pretty dead on.
Yeah, it was great. I like when you get those new calls. So I hope Belichick and Tim Richards those become regulars. Roscoe said, "Oh, go ahead, Chris."
I was going to ask if anyone liked the song from the same episode.
You couldn't
They had-
I
really
couldn't
hear
even
it.
like hear it. Yeah.
It didn't seem too catchy.
No.
I don't know.
No.
You couldn't hear it. The acoustics or whatever was too loud.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
the
a tough
vocals
thing
weren't
about them. It's like if there's if there's something a little bit wrong, it doesn't get played because it's like, okay, good try, you know. They should send it to the network and we can put it on.
Oh, for
people,
sure.
you know?
For sure.
Mount Kirkmore, big Mount Kirkmore. There's Vodka, the new star of the network. Roscoe, as Roscoe said, Vodka though, he's like this guy who's like, oh, all you guys, the network, and then now Kirk talks about him. Like Vodka's changed, you know. He's such a little pussy, and like now he's probably gonna be like, oh, Kirk's such a great guy and all this stuff because Kirk laughed at his. But he actually did have a good Mount Rushmore. I have to give him that. That it was kind of funny. What, Chris, you were on with him. But did he go like? I didn't really get to watch, but did he go really like deep in? Like was he being an asshole or was he being funny?
He was being Vodka. It was funny, but he was being the Vodka. You know, if you go back and watch it, there's nothing he does that's any different than, you know, any meeting of the minds or anytime he's on my show, the 420 show. He was him. So he made his point, and then he's arguing with you, even if you're agreeing with it, but just to get louder and over you. You know how Vodka is, and that's said with love. Or
the cuts from Coleman were like favorable to him, but we've seen some of the stuff he does.
They made him look like a star because they cut out where he was over arguing his points. So
That's
yeah, because I listened to it. I listened to it while I was plowing, and obviously I heard McFuss Daddy's disclaimer at the beginning. So I'm like, oh shit, what does he say? And then, so when I heard it, I was like, oh, definitely, like Kirk's either gonna go ballistic or he's just gonna, shake it off. And I was kind of surprised he just shook it off. But
it's like a funny pick. It's a funny pick, but I wanted to see like how he described it, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame because right afterwards, and even right before Vodka was like, my list is it's just all going to be trash and Kirk, and not like a tough guy. He was like, I don't know if this is the right move, type of thing. And then afterwards, he's like, oh, I'm going to get. He was like, I'm going to get killed for this. I'm going to get killed. And then it was the total opposite. They it's funny because when we recorded it, my first one was Kirk saying he's 50 when he's 49, but that was my bit, right? And everyone was like, "Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one." Kirk comes on and says, "Yeah, that stinks." So whatever we thought going into it was going to be the reaction, we were all wrong.
Yeah, you never know with them.
The best part. That's the best part, if you ask me.
Right.
I don't want to guess it right. That's like when I'm watching wrestling. I don't want to figure out. I don't want to know who's going to win before they win.
Right.
Yeah, it's but Great Mount Kirkmore, Quantum Kirk, great guys. My buddy Daver. I'm going to be spending an Airbnb. I'm going to be in an Airbnb with him, so I will not be calling him a diva for at least 2 months because I don't want him to kick me out of there or anything.
They had Buddy on their last show, which was a great move. Buddy's always a good guest.
A couple more things. What do I have here? Oh, Barstool Radio fucking sucks now. And then them saying like if Kurt, so Erica leaves as CEO, I'm glad that they mended their relationship or whatever. Like it was clear Kirk took something out of context because he's right. Erica did stand by him with Murchison. Like, so those should really outweigh like maybe a one snarky comment. So I was glad he saw the light there, but they were on Barstool Radio. The ladies of Barstool Radio are saying, "Oh, if Kirk would be the CEO, he'd fire all the women." Like that's almost like they're being sexist to Kirk. You know what I mean? Because like Kirk's right. He talks shit about girls, talks shit about guys. I actually think sometimes he's a little bit easier on girls than guys. But what did you think about that? Those the ladies of Barstool Radio saying Kirk will fire all the girls, actually being sexist.
Yeah, I think Kirk plays it way more down the middle than almost anyone, but he admits he's a little bit softer on women, which I mean, me personally, I think that's fine. But I mean, Barstool Radio sucked with Kevin. I still listened, because it
Yeah.
wasn't as bad as it is now. I can't listen anymore. Kelly Keegs and Francis just drags that whole thing way down. It's unbearable.
It was crazy that like they found someone worse than KFC to take over that show. Like actually, Kelly Keegs is probably like Francis on the mic. He almost starts talking like a baby sometimes. He's terrible. KFC probably the worst personality in Barstool history, and Kelly Keegs is, and she just kind of like, I think I probably do a better job hosting than she does. You know what I mean? She's like, she repeats herself. She doesn't let people talk. Like I'm a Barstool Radio is like a total tune out. Now.
Sucks.
Well, Portnoy called her out because she kept repeating herself whenever he would say something, and he's like, "Oh, is that your
what
new?"
she say? I love that.
Yeah. Oh, love to hear it or something like
Love
that.
to hear
it.
it. That's what it was.
Fucking crazy.
Confused Duck, a great contributor to Network, said, "I would rather smash my dick with a hammer than listen to 1 minute of Kelly Keegs."
I don't disagree with that.
No, yeah.
Manners loves Kelly Keegs. He's in love with Kelly Keegs. So but you know,
Pretty soon she might steal Mike and the Minifans from you.
Mike and the Minifans, Mike, like if there's something big going on in the Kirk Minahan world and there's a low week on Barstool Radio, the live viewers think they're almost comparable. It's so funny. Like Mike and the Barstool Radio, I think gets less live viewers now than the Kirk Minahan show. You know, live.
Oh,
or
live,
live
you meant
viewers.
the network.
No, not the network. Not the network.
I was
Their numbers
like if they get like
the same numbers as the Consistency podcast.
Yeah, right.
If they get like I remember one episode like when it like during the Gus fired or whatever, there was like 250 people watching live. Like it's pretty crazy to think. And then these guys are getting paid on fucking shitty ass Barstool Radio as sponsors and shit. And it's like it's not compelling at all. Like I don't know. So but those are all the real topics. I don't know if John's here, if we're gonna take calls soon. Oh, I actually had one more hypothetical, but this is kind of like Kirk said he's had some health problems recently, right? So I was saying in like a bizarre world, say God forbid something happens to him, does Alec Game of Thrones style Harry become the new podcast Jesus, and the Minifans have to all listen to the Kirk Minahan show with Harry, similar to like Joffrey or a kid taking like the king dies and then the kid takes over. So I thought that was
so you're gonna see a bunch of 40-year-old guys start to follow around an 11-year-old.
But that's like Game of Thrones style. That's what happened, right? And it's like the Minifans are. It's like he's the rightful heir. It's like
do we have to wait till he turns 18? You know what I mean? So,
no, but that's not
what
everyone. You
have a reunion when the kid turns 18 and does a live show.
You have like the King's Guard or whatever. You got Justin and Coleman. You know they're guiding him through it until he takes it over. And I thought that was funny, like as a hypothetical. I don't know. It would be. And imagine like he took it over and then Harry like does the opposite. He's like, oh, I'll promote the. I want to grow the show, and he makes it like.
What's funny is when Harry's ready to take over the show, he has to fight Mick because Mick's been.
That's what I'm saying. Game of Thrones, and you have these snakes like Mick, like little fingers coming in. He's trying to like get Harry out and stuff. So I thought
that is kind of funny.
I thought that
would be a funny video. A lot of production value that none of us.
Yeah, where it's like something happens. That could be a funny concept. But Game of Thrones style. What would happen if podcast Jesus?
If someone's good at Photoshop, get on that.
Right.
ABA.
Yep.
You gonna land a plane or what? We doing it?
What do you mean?
You gonna land a plane?
Yeah. So I think we're gonna. I don't know if John's here.
Oh, is John?
Is John here? We're gonna take. Menners, me, myself, and Menners are going to take some calls.
There he is.
Sean here, Menners?
John's not here, but thanks, Kane. You go and be a father. Great to see you. Bye-bye. Chris, thank you. Arrivederci. Matt, great start. Thanks for coming on the network.
Thank you.
Go Pats. Dylan, you going to go and do some bird watching this weekend?
It's gonna be like the coldest day of the year this weekend, so I'm gonna stay inside.
Nice. Well, you stay warm, brother, and we'll
All right.
catch up soon. Well, great show, BA. John's not here since. Just a little inside. I mean, as you know, John's taking the whole Dr. Vodka thing really, really bad because Dr. Vodka got more praise in one episode than John has got in the entire 5 years he's been doing KMS content.
That's true, but I was when Kirk started like praising Dr. Vodka's picks, I almost wanted to reach out to him privately and be like, Kirk, Dr. Vodka, he's a hater, fuck this guy, like Meme says, he sucks, he's a pussy. But I Dr. Vodka must be the happiest. Like this guy has loved Kirk for so long. He tried to be this tough guy. Now that Kirk kind of gave him like a belly rub, he's probably drinking himself, more than he usually does,
And
he's celebrating.
And I mean, it was really lucky that the Mike and Mick fight was so good, and Kirk was in such a great mood that he was ready to laugh about something. Because if he was in a bad mood, that could have really rubbed him the wrong way. Yeah,
that's true. The smile on Kirk's face when he was watching Mick and Mike fight was nice to see. And yeah, you're right. If Gus was in studio and Gus played that audio, he probably would have ripped Dr. Vodka. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. And I do think because there were bits in it that Justin tried to play more, but Kirk was just like, "Oh, let's move on. Let's get to another point." So I thought that whole show was really good. That whole episode of Mount Kirkmore with the worst show bits, and I think John is just upset that he wasn't involved with it. It's a McFuss Daddy Beanbag Ron production, and John hates seeing shows that he's not involved with do well. So there he is, Jonathan Patrick Hugo. There we go.
I don't hate seeing show. I was setting up the calls. I don't hate seeing shows do good. I hate Vodka and that whole love that he got from Kirk because the wind was blowing the right way into Kirk's face. So just Vodka, he had a horrible performance, probably one of the worst shows you ever put out on the network. I'm stunned. Thank God McFuss Daddy saved that performance. It was
I actually
not bitter at all.
Very bitter.
I actually the Mount Kirkmore, in my opinion, is the new kind of Mincel Intel. They're like the edgy guys, whereas Quantum Kirk is like the
your dad's show,
Quantum Week. It's like more structured. So it's
calling me the part of the Quantum Week one kind of hurts, but that's okay. I'll let that slide.
That's what, and it's funny that a production that doesn't have John's fingertips on it is doing so well,
But I think it's such a good week for Dr. Vodka. I mean, he's the new star of GVE. He's one of Kirk's favorites.
Another one.
He's
the face of GVE. He's the face of GVE, and he hasn't even shown his face.
Yeah, he's called out everyone for being like a Kirk ass kisser or whatever. Like now that he got it, let's see how he is.
That was my thing. I know that little shit spent the whole night before that episode DMing everybody, being like, "This is going to be bad." I'm surprised he didn't just quit Twitter the night before, and then he had a good. Kirk said he liked it, and he was probably trying to ride his elephant into town. And I'm not gonna fucking have it, especially your little popper manners. Like, go Vox, fuck you, manners.
I'm just really proud of him.
It was a terrible performance.
You are so bitter. If it's not all about John, if you're just sad that you weren't on that show, and it wasn't you getting all that attention.
It's true. I've had some good picks on that show.
I just want to put to bed the rumors. BA, you weren't suspended last week. It was a self-imposed break from the network by you, and you weren't suspended. The leadership team of you, me, and Joe has never been stronger. And I don't know if you saw your promotion on the KMS network page.
What happened?
Well, I just KMS Network page now has CEO Manners, COO, which is Chief Operations Officer, the ACT, VP, Vice President, BA.
Oh wow, BPBA. Well, people,
and then I think vodka's probably under you, and then
probably vodka, then
Dave,
Danny
Danny,
for sure.
Danny.
You can't.
John is kind of like an intern to all these guys. Like he's kind of like Robbie V's intern.
He's like the Nick. He's like the intern Nicholas of the network.
Yeah, he's kind of like intern Nick of the network. Fuck, what was I going to say? I forgot.
You weren't suspended anyway. That's what I was saying.
People, the chat, there's Roscoe, the Roscoes of the world. Everyone in the chat last week was like, oh, BA's trying to sabotage John. He's so jealous of John, all this stuff. I was like, I called John before. I went over some talking points, some topics. I gave him some feedback as a VP would. For me, as you know, the network is not always number one. I'm not like these other shows like the Rundown, who think they're bigger than the network. You know, you have all these other guys that are me guys, where I think you see that I care more about the network success of the B. If John was a better host than me and I had to be a panelist or a comment guy, I would be happy. Dave Scott, looks fat as hell.
And John did well last week, definitely. I mean,
but you're better.
He's no McFuss Daddy as a host or
651. You had to call
Ross. Oh, I know it was a joke, Roscoe.
Okay. First caller, welcome to Mike and the Minifans.
Hey, Manners, just checking in on you. You mentioned that your auntie wasn't doing well. Just checking in. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. She kicked the bucket, so she didn't do so well. But yeah.
Thanks for that.
Dante. Oh, sorry. Is this guy still on?
No, he's gone.
Dante said people are saying BA is taking credit for John's performance.
You did try to give a little wrap up.
I did try to take credit.
And basically the wrap up of my performance was that you called me before 520. Oh, is that what we sound like? Bleh. Go ahead.
Turn your TV down.
Hello, it's Biodude. I want to talk about my idea for the.
John, can you just hang up on this guy?
No, it's his idea.
Please, honestly, I'll mute you, John, if you don't hang up on him. So either way, we're not taking this call. Either way, we're not taking this call.
What's Biodude's idea?
He's the worst, and the worst. He should go back, stick a fucking cornhole up his ass. That's what he should do.
There's Minifans screaming in their
couches.
John, can you hang up on Biodude? I'll just mute John. Easy. I mean, if he's not going to hang up on Biodude, then John can talk to Biodude himself.
On the juice, I let Bio cook.
Is he still there? Sorry, Biodude. Go on.
I have nothing to say to you.
Is Biodude gone?
He's gone.
Oh, thank goodness.
He said he has other networks he could take his idea to. I know where. I know one.
Inappropriate question here from Roscoe. Would you bang Mama Kay? Not going to answer that. I think you all know the answer. But I had a great time. I know John would. I mean, I had a great time with her last night. I thought she was very good on Minifandom.
I love how that's a pure example of just the 180 switch that you can have in this world, where one day everyone hated her and then Kirk said he likes her one day and now everyone's.
Well, when she came on Mike and the Minifans, she was actually, I would say she's in the top percentile of panelists.
Like, she has opinions. She says her opinion. She doesn't care if it's fucking right or wrong, and that's good to have on a show.
The first question I asked her, I said, "Are you sexist for rating guys?" And she started laughing. So
I was there when Mama K and GD saw each other the first time. It was great in person.
I blocked Roscoe. I'm not going to read his comments anymore, but I still
He's the worst. He's the worst.
Just to get the ground rules down, Menners, when you change the show back to Menners Live, you can say when the callers get, or you could just mute me and we could just have this little bickering battle and blah, blah, blah.
Well, this is not, this is Menners Live hosted by BA, kind of.
Okay.
No, this is Menners Live is there. Anyway, whatever. Either way, if I don't want to speak to someone, I'm going to mute you.
Yeah,
Because I'm
just
producing.
name change it and then just like, oh, it's okay.
Well, I was telling you last week, I was like, you needed to say, this is Menner's Live,
Yeah.
hosted by John, the interim fill-in for BA on Michael Minifans.
Yeah.
Roscoe said, Menners, would you go camp with her husband on the mountain? Is that a case? That's cages. Menners, what did you think about me saying that? Like, you kind of brought the Colemans in the closet, like, thing to the forefront, and he is like, I think he might actually like bang a dude, like as a joke at this point, you know,
a joke.
I just want people to be happy, BA. And I saw something inside Coleman waiting to come out. He's only young. He's grown up in a very conservative background, probably those sort of ideals.
It's those boys' school kids. Like I went to Catholic school. That's much different than a boys' school. Man, I didn't like have to sleep with these kids and shit.
Dante said Roscoe was banned for 45 seconds. That is true. I can't ban anyone.
Is Roscoe the chat mod? I was wondering why I never get blocked.
No, I don't think we have anyone.
We had a new guy on the show tonight. Who was that guy? His hair was a weird color.
He's pretty nice, but Montante Montante, because I said Montante's like, if someone backs out, I'll come in. So I said, oh, there he is. I said, if someone backs out, I'll come in. And I was like, and he said, oh, this guy Matt's a good guy. And I was like,
yeah, it's good to get new good guys.
And then I got too many. I don't know how the Axe does it. The Axe because I had no one, and then I had too many people almost. You know?
Yeah. Well, the one last week I started inviting people on, and then I didn't even think if you guys already had people invited on. So, not the best move.
Well, look at this. Dave Scott said Coleman used to jerk off my cousin under the bleachers in high school.
Whoa.
Shit.
So what does that mean about your cousin?
Matt, how do you know Montante? Like Montante knows everyone. Because I followed you after, and you don't really follow anyone or anything.
So when he first came on the main show, I followed him, and because I thought he was good. And then I started my own podcast last year, and I was asking him about what type of equipment he uses, and we just started DMing back and forth.
You asked Montante.
Yeah, well, that was
you fucking idiot.
Like you already have a better setup than
Montante. Montante. Like I said, man, Montante
blind leading the blind. If I
Montante started coming on these things, like he started on a live stream with me and John on a Willie G, the former intern, electric chair, and he would do it in his car, and he would leave to go make these vodka yoo-hoos and come back. Like it was.
So people were talking about how Mick had I don't know, Francis on or whatever, and I was like, we had Frank the Tank on. Kirk just said he's the biggest star in New York right now, and Montante blew that episode. Blew it. Came in worst.
Montante came in. I know it's funny. I alluded to Frank taking the biggest shits in the office, and then on the Yak, he was the guy that shit on the toilet. So
there you go.
People were getting so mad at me. They're like, "Oh, you can't say that to Frank." Like, fuck you, you know.
It's Mick getting Francis on there. I love how he used that as like a brokering tool. Like I had Francis on the podcast.
Jizzwizard brings up a good point. Mick rejecting Mike's advice, and this idiot taking Montante's advice.
Mick is heel turn. I am in the Mick fucking. I love the squad. I like Mick right now. I like it. Someone said it on the show earlier that this is all going to be about Mick. Now I think there is going to be just a Mick era that we're all hit with.
That was my 2024. But like Mick is good. Mick's at his best when he's arguing with people, but then when he's not doing that, he's kind of an afterthought. Like he doesn't really talk too much about anything else. Right?
I love Mick, and I think he's a hard worker. You give him that job for 2 weeks and he quits.
I think he has to be like
buried him.
Attack dog. Who buried him? Sorry.
I don't know if that's even burying him. That's more or less being like, I don't like, dude, that job is, you got to be a fucking crazy person to want that job.
It was actually interesting on Quantum Kirk, John. You said you still very, very much want the job. To be a producer at KMS.
Is it funny that
you've still got shut up, BA? You've still got your eye on the chair, like you're working behind the scenes to unsettle Coleman.
To take you down, and then next Watertown.
John's the only, well, actually, never mind. It's not. John's actually he's in control of the Instagram. Are you still or not really?
Yeah. That's why I was wondering if when Justin got it, he would just like give us all the fucking boot, but no.
Is it growing the Instagram?
Oh
or?
God, I think I sent Shark Minahan and Shark Minahan only the numbers, but it's up like 700%. But I mean,
Well,
that's
yeah,
because
because
there's like
YouTube,
3 of us on there now.
Also, the stories are way better.
Yeah,
like I think the
stories
stories are the way to go.
Yeah, people don't
Also,
realize how important stories are on social media.
You create all the stuff on the Instagram.
Well, so right now, when Gus was in that week period or that 1 week period where we didn't know what was going on, Colin, they reached out.
Well done. That's a great story. Fantastic.
It's great. Did you hear what's playing though in the background? It's from Wayne's World, and they're like, "Yay, Delaware!" It's a good
Drunk Rob made a good point. He said, "Mick is wildly talented. We just don't get it."
Go ahead, play it.
It's all right.
Right.
Head to at Kirkman Show, follow it, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, show tips.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. I should say, hey, like and subscribe, but
it's a network production, I guess. I mean, if John by proxy, it's a network production now because you're employed by the network and you're doing it for KMS.
Can I just say, I listened to the Blind Mike and Kirk episode of Why Are You Laughing, and it was not one of my favorite episodes of Why Are You Laughing.
That's just not my style. I don't know. Do you listen to Matt?
It's like one of my favorite podcasts, low key.
No.
It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah, I've stopped listening. I was a huge Why Are You Laughing fan, but too many episodes, too many dud episodes, and I just
but did you listen to like Ron and Fez and those shows? Like, so I like those episodes.
Yeah.
That's because you're
it's a good podcast. It's a great podcast. I'll try and listen to that one with Kirk. I never even saw All in the Family.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I never really watched All in the Family. Yeah, Roscoe said Menner's taking credit for John's Instagram stories. That's no, because it's a network. It's a network. We're a team.
It's a network production. It's a network production.
Yeah, I think we're a team. I'll take credit for everyone.
But yeah, right now, Justin, me, and Coleman have access, I think, to it. So it's a conglomerate.
And by extension, me. So.
And I guess
the one thing I noticed about
actually, though, would you actually seriously? Would you consider why don't you drop the odd bit of good network content? Like I can give you the videos. Just ask me. If they talk about, say, Dr. Vodka, but
I
you wouldn't.
I just don't like regular clips. Like I want to make clips what I want to make them after. Like that's why it's good that we're doing
you've got to fight your own instincts. What you've got to think is, okay, do the opposite of what you want to do. Like that's what you should be thinking.
That's what I don't want to do. My videos make sense to me because I love them and I like to sit there and make them, and that's all they're for.
Do you ever run them by your significant other? Just hey, did this make sense to you? Because I think that's what you should do. She's clearly. Well, she seems like a sensible woman. Just go up to her and say, does this make any sense to you? And if she goes no, then you need to tweak it.
Okay. Good call. Maybe I'll take that into consideration.
Or run it by BA. Or just anybody.
I should have some type of filter.
Because you're representing the network.
I'm representing. I am
the VP
for the main show. It's not like anyone cares. No one. It's not like Kirk's on fucking Instagram. It's like a free playground. You could do whatever you want on there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was just looking at it there. The real views. I think it should be a place where if I'm running KMS, I'm looking at reels both on Insta and TikTok. So I don't know who runs the TikTok, but you should be giving those reels to be put on TikTok.
Coleman wanted me to run the TikTok, but dude, I don't even run TikToks for the social media pages I have to do for work.
But it's the same thing.
It's the same format. I agree. We have basically a Dropbox that you could throw them all in. Yeah.
Okay. And I'd be saying there are areas where we should be looking for new listeners. So making little clips from the show where you compile little segments and it's to bring in new listeners through those avenues. Whereas Twitter and is more for stirring shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't do anything for that. I'm not trying to do that. Like Justin could run that.
But do you notice the Twitter videos are when you scroll past them, they're totally cut off?
Yeah, Justin makes them portraits. I don't know why he's doing that, but if it's for the Instagram, he should just make it for Twitter, and I could then make it Instagram version.
Exactly.
But like at this point, it's all of us making our own clips that it's not, there's no planning. We all just make our own clips and just throw everything up.
The new worst show bit is John thinking his Instagram stories matter to the show.
No, they don't matter at all. Like that's what I just said. The Instagram doesn't matter at all. That's why it's fun to do it. I don't have to worry about it mattering.
Oh, but that's
you're
where
doing a great job.
Yeah, that's where you get some more listeners.
It's good they've asked the network to run the Insta.
Yeah.
Just also sticking with the network, there's some news, and John, you should know about this because you produced the show. So I put Quantum Kirk on Monday nights, and the show was doing really, really well, steady growth, being talked about on the main show.
My idea.
And then for some reason, I said to Danny, it should be on a regular night, don't lie. Okay, maybe you did as well, whatever. I don't know.
I'm saying I want it back on Mondays.
Yeah, so do I. So, but then for some reason, fat shit Danny, probably because him and Dave were like sucking some cock and decided they wanted to put it on Thursday night. So we moved it to Thursday night for them, and the views have fallen off a cliff. It never gets mentioned on the main show. So I've now reached out to Danny today and said, look, I'd like to bring it back to Monday. And as I said to him, sometimes people need to learn for themselves rather than take sound advice from the beginning. So Quantum Kirk is going back to Monday night. So
I think Mondays
Did he just rebrand Look Inward?
Look Inward, yeah. But Menners is right. The Monday slot, that's a primetime slot, I would say.
Absolutely. And it doesn't get forgotten about as easier. You know, a lot of shows drop at the end of the week.
I think the most important spot is Sunday night, or like Sunday nights.
No, I don't think so. I
guess I agree with you, John. But the problem with that is they do go through phases on KMS of recording on Sunday nights, and then you can't go up against the main show.
Yeah,
so I try and keep that one free, and that's the sort of night where people are at home, you know, they're and they think, oh, I'll catch up on the network so they can watch Mike and the Minifans, Quantum Kirk.
I think Sunday morning is good for the Confused Duck if he does the recap. I think a Sunday morning show, and I think I said Mike and the Minifans Friday night rundown Saturday morning is really good for traffic. I think that because I don't think Saturday
set up right now is beautiful. Like I have something to listen to at all points in time, basically. You know, like
but what went last Saturday night? I put Mount Kirkmore with. And that got lots of live viewers on Saturday night. Like I think the rundown, but I still think the rundown would do well on Saturday, like do much better on Saturday night.
I'd like the Saturday morning.
It's like Saturday morning cartoon type of deal. Like I just like something coming out Saturday morning.
And those three are like cartoon characters. They're just bumbling kind of idiots.
We have a good comment in the chat. Jizz Wizard said that's class, BA. Thank you, Jizz Wizard. And Dan Hammer says BA is Menner's puppet. Like me and Menner see eye to eye on a lot of things. And if I have a difference of opinion, I say it. We don't always agree on every single thing.
I would say that's your most important feature, buddy. Is your ideas.
And
Matt, what do you think of the network looking inward from the outside?
Stop using our phrase. Branding.
It's Dr. Vodka's phrase.
Actually, Kirk uses "look inward" now too.
Sorry, Vodka. Sorry, Vodka.
You can't take credit of just lines now. That's so dumb. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm probably not the best person to ask for this. I watch what I can. I don't consume that much because I work a lot and I come home.
What do you do?
It's true, Roscoe.
Heating and air conditioning, HVAC.
Okay.
So would you say you watch, like, if there's like the show has this big drama and there's like would you watch those emergencies, Mike and the Minifans and those kind of things? Or
yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's I that stuff is also like that's fun to dive into. I'm like I told you before we started recording, like I've been listening since like 2020. But I'm just now kind of diving into like the whole universe online type of deal. So
I've got a question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one producer, and I'm going to ask all of you this, your favorite producer from KMS so far, who would it be?
The the most like qualified and competent was Steve, but my favorite was Dave. Like early Dave. He definitely fell off towards the end.
Early Dave, yeah.
Yeah, but
Sully.
early Dave was the best.
Okay. BA, your favorite producer?
I think like the Steve era is the best era so far, but I'm thinking the Coleman and whoever Coleman Justin, Coleman Gus era. The Coleman Gus era actually could stand as the best best era in show history. You know what I mean? Just the
We used to have a show that would beg that it would be like a more barstooly show type of deal where they talk to those people back in the day and beg and beg and beg, and now it's there. So,
but my favorite. I still think my favorite era of the show is the original when the network first came on. That whole the Steve era where.
I'm not asking about the era. I'm asking about the best, your favorite producer. Answer the question.
Probably
a lawyer.
Probably Steve. I would say Steve.
It's your favorite producer, Steve.
Well,
so you're a Steve, guys.
Just shows how bad Cully turned his back on everybody because it's
but Cullinane was never. Cullinane's when I stopped listening to the show, so I can't be like he's my favorite producer. Like I didn't listen to the show for a year when Cullinane was. Wow. My favorite might be Gus. It could be Gus.
Your favorite is Gus.
My favorite would be Gus. I don't know. Sorry, go. So what did you say, John?
Did we talk about how Justin's just trying to make these alpha moves on Coleman already?
We've got some questions here, so let's go through them. I want to answer the question. I think if I had to pick my favorite producer so far in the short little period, a long way to go, I'd have to give it to Coleman. So far, he's delivering more than anybody. You know, Steve, there's just a snake.
Steve was a snake.
Cully, within like 2 weeks of taking the job, turned his back on all the Minifans.
This is clearly just feeling bad because you made him gay.
Well, I kind of do.
Cullinane, the only thing Cullinane did was unblock a few people from the show account. That was it. And then he turned his back on it.
I did that for Menners.
Yeah, I really. When you followed me, I wasn't blocked. You followed me.
Yeah, I followed.
No one's sorry, Matt.
Well, Coleman definitely, I think, has the highest potential for sure.
Yeah,
The drops are hilarious. Like, I think they're a little bit overplayed at some points.
It's good to overplay drops, though.
Right? Yeah, and he promotes the network and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's funny when he overplay a drop, you basically get yelled at, and that's what we want anyway. So it's like overplay them then.
Yeah. So actually, I think I have the best answer. Gus is my. I think it goes Gus, Coleman, Steve, Cullinane. Right now,
yeah, I'm going Coleman, Cullinane, Justin, Gus, Mick when he filled in, Carano when he filled in, John when he filled in, Steve.
Montante.
Yeah, I'm going.
No.
Montante.
I had to draw the line somewhere.
This is a great question for
theory. The cameras are all fucked up right now just because Montante, like he touched them one day and it's just never been okay.
The best is when I was in with Montante and I was like, do we need to touch shit out? And he's like, oh yeah, we're good. And I was like, is this how the camera should look? And Cullinane like came up to me and be like, BA, can you believe this guy? And I was like, and he was like, Cullinane, just turn it on. He's like, no, you have to know. And Montante was getting so mad about like turning the camera on.
I wish Cullinane had a more stern approach of like attacking the producers who didn't know how to, because like he could have easily held a lot more of these guys accountable for the fact that they don't know how to produce.
Like, what would Montante do if the mic didn't work? Like, like Justin's mic didn't work. Like, how long would it take to get that mic to work?
That's what I said. Like, you might not even be able to do the show that day.
Well, Montante's smart. He probably would be like that day. He's smart. He's smart. He's a smart guy. He'll probably call somebody. Come in and fix it. He'd
be on the phone to every Minifan.
Yeah, he'd get a guy. He has a guy for that. That's Montante.
He'd be on YouTube watching videos.
If Montante was the producer, there would be maybe 50 to 100 like under the table interns for the show. Like, oh, you'd be like, you're kind of an intern. Don't worry,
You'd be using that power card at every turn he could. I don't know. I love Montante on the show. I'm still supporting the Eminem boys.
Yeah, same. So call in if you want. Any calls, John?
No, nothing right now. 6'5".
Bio dude didn't call back. All right, so let's just go through the questions from the chat. Memes. Is Roscoe the most annoying Minifan?
No.
He's certainly up there. BA for sure.
Yeah, but Brosco can get annoying, but it's almost he's almost a good troll though. In the chat.
Yeah, I like him.
But yeah, you have to be annoying to be a troll.
Yes.
Geez, Wizard, how often do you hit your head on door handles? It's not quite my head, but it is my shoulder. I often just clip it with my shoulder and oh fuck. So that is annoying.
If you bumped into my coffee table, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, but I get stuck underneath it. Let me out. It's interesting. Phil McCooch, at the end of Kirk's contract, will he remember Gus as producer of KMS? Well, if Gus keeps tweeting like this, we'll never forget him because he won't shut up.
Gus isn't going away. He's like herpes or whatever. It'll keep coming back.
The time frame of the whole thing has got to be the toughest thing to deal with because it's just.
That was said like two men who know what herpes is, like what it's like to have herpes.
Did I say anything? I don't.
I know. I'm talking to the other guys.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, me? Oh, I thought you were talking about John.
Yeah.
Well, he probably got it too.
I don't. I swear. I apparently have to say that at this point. You have no calls. If you want to get rid of,
no, I've got more questions from the chat because Nick from Boston. Do Coleman and Justin both make it to the Portland show as producers? What do you think, Matt? Matt, what do you think? There's a debutante on the network.
It's in March, right? Yeah, or
no chance.
No, I don't know. I think they both do. I don't think they both make it to the end of the year. But
interesting. Who goes first?
I think Coleman goes first. I think Justin is a little bit more mature and older now. He can take a little bit more. I don't think he'll crack, but I think something will happen because if you go back to the best of, Kirk was almost equally as mad at Coleman as he was Gus. So if he keeps if that hasn't eluded his mind, then he should still be upset at him. And one more fuck up. Like if Subway goes terrible or something happens at Portland, I could definitely see him coming down on Coleman and just keep hammering till he either gets rid of him like he did Gus or he quits. I think Coleman will quit way before Gus would.
I think when Coleman's lease is up in Watertown, he gets a new place in P-Town or Provincetown and moves over there, and the commute's just too far.
Was that a gay joke?
Yeah, it's the gay capital of Massachusetts.
I'm just shocked you would know local Boston humor.
That would be a funny video. Coleman just hanging out in P-Town with the boys.
I wonder if, like, low key, he was just waiting for the right time to say it, and then Quinlan did that, and then Menners called him out, and now he's just in this muck that he can't just be like, I'm actually gay.
For this question, the only way they don't make it to Portland if Justin has like a breakdown again, because I don't think Kirk fires him.
I don't think Justin will have another breakdown.
Yeah, I think we've stuck with these two for a while.
He might have a case of I fucked up Dave syndrome, like Dave got that one time. Oh, we got to call her Anonymous.
Okay. Wow.
Hi, welcome to Menners Live, hosted by BA, formerly hosted by John.
Welcome to BA Live. Welcome to the Dr. Vodka Show.
Yeah, I just had a question for you guys about when Carabas was in there today or yesterday, whenever that was. Did you guys hear him refer to Tim Ridgels as Tim from Canton?
Yeah.
And if I can get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Thanks. Good call.
Yeah. Carabas is irrelevant to me. He's just like
I can if you want.
He's my least he might be my least favorite.
Riggles came in today or yesterday and fucking hit him with some truths. Like, yeah, he doesn't listen to the show. He listens the day before he comes in and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, but he never claimed to be some crazy Minifan. So it made Tim look bad.
But Kravitz is so sensitive about it.
He was. He was sensitive all day today or yesterday.
Yeah, Jared, I don't think he's ever claimed to be a super big Minifan, but that was a bad look. I mean, Tim's an all-time.
I also don't care about him being I don't care about him being a Minifan. I just think he sucks. Like his shows are my favorite show. Like,
I think he's funny. Like I think he's a funny vibe to have in there. I like him, but other than that,
he's an all-time idiot, like Kirk said.
That's
Like, yeah, veterans fucking win.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The ass-eating story, like those are still very funny show moments that have happened because of Jared.
He's good in the show because Kirk can make anyone funny, whereas like Montante's good in the show because he's just a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
and that's funny itself.
But Jared, like he just pays attention to baseball, and he's like buddies with Kirk. Like he doesn't consume any. He doesn't consume like who really cares? I don't care about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Him losing the Yankees game was a tough look.
Yeah, that was pretty tough.
Yeah.
But Tim was rattled that episode. I don't think he likes the Shazat the Rizat jokes.
That was weird.
I think he's another guy that doesn't do well being sober. I think you can put him in that category.
Yeah, he has to have a few. Like he needs to have a couple shots before he goes in, or else.
Absolutely.
Do you guys all watch the live stream on YouTube?
Yeah,
sometimes, but I can't. Some days I can't.
It sucks because I do though. Yes.
Is it better to do that because with my job, I can't. Like I'm in
Here's
and out
the
of
deal.
people's houses. I can't watch it live.
Here we go. Expert John will give you the answer. You just sit back, Matt.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Take a seat.
Yep.
If you're watching live, if you miss a little and then the next day comes out, you're not going to go back and listen to what you missed or whatever. That happens to me with the live stuff. Like, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
See it live, I can't watch it. Then it's weird.
I prefer if I could watch it live. If I can't watch it live, I prefer it.
Sorry, the fucking sun rises at the right time when I listen to it, Menners, and it's not 4 a.m. Like, fuck off. What do you mean? Stay up till
so I guess it's two things, Matt. If you pay for YouTube Premium, then I would always watch it on YouTube because what happens is, like, the fight between Mick and Mike was so much better when you're watching a vision and you're seeing Kirk. Like, it was way better. So, but if you can't, if you're not paying for YouTube Premium, then it's kind of annoying because you have to have it open the whole time. So that's when you probably want to listen to the podcast feed. So yeah, that's my advice.
I feel like I'm putting across a narrative that I don't like Montate in this episode, and I don't want that.
Did you hate it?
I love.
There's a good question actually. Sorry. Do you want me to read this one? Do you think they actually left or forgot equipment, or are you being a troll?
So they had everything packed up on the KMS. They had a photo that everything was packed for the Delaware show. And I know as someone who does a lot of production, and John will know this, whenever you pack up and you're going onto a live site, you always have this fear that you're going to get there and you've forgotten something crucial. Do you get that, John? You've got that nagging little doubt?
I just can't get that thought out of my when little kids carry their hockey bags and it's just too big for them. And that's what Menners looks like when he carries all his equipment.
That's true. Now get past that. Do you get that feeling? Yes, do you know what I'm saying? You're like, oh,
here's what I will say though. It only takes 2 or 3 times of doing this where you get a system down that makes you just as good as what I can say I am. So like there were a couple times a way of doing this that to being just as good as me. So I'm not going to really shit talk them on it yet.
No, I'm not shit talking them, but I just put a tweet out saying, oh, I hate that feeling when you because I just wanted to maybe put that little doubt in their brain. But I
they forgot something.
The show starts in 28 minutes and you need to run to a Best Buy because you forgot something that's 20 minutes away and you're just like, what do I possibly do? Like time.
The best would be like they forget something and Gus just has it in his car. And saves the day.
He pulls it out of his fucking zipper, dude.
Gus, imagine that Gus becomes the dot. Gus and Julie are the dotting the T's, crossing the I's. Because Gus is good at. I think Gus is good at like setting up stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I think he's good at that.
It's like that. He brings in the dumbs, like the veterans fucking win type. Like Gus is good for that stuff, but like him getting fired and then walking out of the ring and then just lighting the Harry Potter DVD set on fire right outside the ring for Coleman to see has been awesome. The live tweeting the Harry Potter movies has just been rattling Coleman. I know it.
Someone said, "Who's the best third chair in history?" Montante. I think Montante too.
If Mike's not being considered, Mike, then Montante. Just because, like, I don't know, he did start on our show. Like, I consider him my friend. I don't think he'd say the same, but like, I don't know. I think he is the best with Kirk. Like, I don't know why.
I could see Gus. Someone said Gus is Gus gonna go Minifan? I could see Gus being like, if we do the stats, Mike in the Minifan panels by the end of the year, Gus might be top 3. Like I could see him every Friday. He'll be fill in, or he'll try to get on.
Dude, he was in there. He had his leg up. He was. I think he had.
I thought BA, you were really good. Like you and VD, that like, you two would both, if you went in more often,
you were
easily overtake Montante.
Having VD in there with you too makes it makes it so easy. It's like when I'm in there with Mayo, it just makes it easier being in there. Mayo's there.
Mayo's very good.
I think for myself too. Like I think if I start talking for too long, I'll start sounding dumber and dumber. So I have to like talk in short spurts, you know. So I don't think I could be in there by myself.
Did you see, or at the beginning of the week when they basically cut that audio to make it sound like I said that Justin found out about that in the bathroom right there? That was pro. How they cut that. Pro.
When I was in studio though, my best joke was when they were talking to Montante was rattled, and I was like, "Oh, you can't say the T word in front of Montante." they're like trans, and I said no taxes. That was a good moment.
The best is when I was going in after you were in, and you were just texting me lines that you didn't use on your appearance.
Yeah.
Same you did last week.
Always trying to help, you know.
Yeah.
Did Roscoe? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, there you go. You go, BA.
Question 2 for memes. Did Roscoe make Montante blow him last year on the ride back from Portland? That's a great.
Very likely, because Montante was very scarred.
Montante gets rattled by Minifans more than anyone I've ever seen, other than Blind Mike.
If Montante owed him money, maybe.
No, Montante's good with that shit. I think like he has a system. He's actually worse at handling like you saying he was bad on a show than he is at handling like a gambling debt. That's what I feel.
I love Montante. Going back to the other question, I think he is the best third chair. He's the reason I'm here right now. So yeah,
that's
big
fair.
Montante guy.
Would you say you're in the Montante coaching tree?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's put you there. There you go.
Nick from Boston. God forbid Tim Contagion dies. Does Kirk do a show at his funeral? That'd be.
I mean, I just want to say this first and foremost: Tim from Ken will eventually die, so we don't.
Good point, Sean.
You know, like that's on the table.
Do you believe Kirk will really go? I thought this the other day. Do you believe Kirk will really go to all those places around the country? That was a pretty insane list of live shows. Look, if we're going on past results, he probably goes to maybe like 25% of them. And he said he's just going to do a tour. Like they're just going to go and knock out a few all at once. But there's no way he's going to go to all of them. It's just how far short he is.
Kirk is a classic, like a procrastinator. Like he's like, oh, we have 4 years to do it, and then 3 years will go by and be like,
I wouldn't even say he's a procrastinator. He just procrastinates over things that he should. It's like the Larry David effect, where it's like, well, you never really had to offer that to begin with. You should have just not.
Yeah, it's like he does the, you know, where people say under promise, over deliver. For those, he does the over promise.
Is that Dante? Like, I wonder if Dante and Joe just did some motel on their way from the Midwest to Delaware.
Yeah,
but I would say the money is he doesn't do all 10 in the 4 years. I would say that's that would be like that would be the favorite if there was gambling odds.
And if he does, it's incredible because the list is just incredible to try to achieve. Maybe, like I said, Menners, like maybe the producers get really a system down and they could fucking bang these shows out and in and out and fucking.
I think that's what he envisioned the Julie role to be, to playing out these 10 shows, you know.
But you know, I mean, you know, John, you can just stick that roadcaster in a few mics and you can travel around the country and do a show, no worries. I mean, you know, if I was there, this would be on the road. It'd be Kirk and me across America.
If I was, I'd be pushing Barstool to be pay-per-viewing every one of these, though.
It'd be funny, Kirk and Menners across America. Menners, when he drives, he needs like something to push the push the gas because his feet don't touch the gas.
And I can't imagine they need the full like truck there with the satellite dish type deal on it to stream another pay-per-view. I don't know though. I don't know how deep that goes though.
I feel like that. See, the problem with the pay-per-views is like there's definitely a cost to set them up, right? So it's like, how much do you have to?
Yeah, but then think about it. Like, then make it a Patreon type deal where it's like, I mean, Blind Mike doesn't have a fucking TV van outside there. That you can set up a paywall, like make it so you could.
No, I'm saying to set up actually set up the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I understand that because like it's like a Rough and Rowdy, dude. There's a fucking 40-person film crew there. Like there's a team of people there filming those.
Like in Saco, there was it looked like there was a decent amount. There was a decent amount of stuff that needed to be done for it to go on pay-per-view like that.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know
how much you think it costs, like for
they have to bring those guys there. They have to have they had a truck there. I think.
Like you think 10 grand? Less.
Like 5 to 10 grand.
5 to 10. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I think we've come to the end of Mike and the Minifans tonight. What do you reckon, BA? It's your show.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. See, the calls last week are good when I said.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't pick up today. Maybe because Menner's
last week was more.
Dude.
But you got to think that these shows are more like they're more engagement when there's something like crazy going on. This was like a very tame week. It was like a very there was no real drama besides Mick and Mike, I guess. But
it was a good show. Great, Mike and the Minifans. Thanks everybody for watching. John, thanks for jumping on. Matt, great to meet you. BA, have a great weekend. Those going to the Delaware show. Have a great time. Take lots of photos, take lots of videos. All the people that aren't there want to see as much as possible. And, I think somehow we should record the audio of the show and release it on the network. So if someone can, get their phone in a good spot, record it, send it in.
It would be funny as like, how you would watch those like people videotaping movies back in the day.
Yeah, like something in their hat.
Some bootleg shit. Yeah, that'd be great.
But I think Kirk would be on board with that because he's a Bruce, there's all bootleg copies of his live shows I'm sure Kirk has listened to. So, you wouldn't be doing anything wrong. If you could just slip get your phone, hit record on voice memo, put it on the table upside down and just leave it there. No one will notice. The Coleman or Justin, they'll just be wandering around smoky as fuck. Send me the audio file and
to you, Joe and Dante.
I'll convert it to a video file, put it on the network, and off we go.
That would be funny. Yeah. But that would then get Kirk to start hating the network probably.
Why though? Why? I mean, we could vet it. I mean, if there's anything super private, we'll beep it out.
Little fucking hate.
Anyway,
if you beat out the private stuff, maybe that would be. But that would be fun.
Anyway, so thanks for watching. Go back and check all the great shows on the network this week. Minifan with Mama K, Mount Kirkmore with Dr. Vodka, Robbie V, you name it, it's there. Quantum Kirk with John, and thanks everybody.
Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we want to go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You want to be with DC and our aim in a hand. The host can't see it's Mike and the Minifans. And nobody's seen real MHB. This whole thing is a sham. You never see him pee, it's Mike and the Minifans.